Welcome to the Stiff Arm. I'm Brett Favre. Well, Super Bowl Sunday is here. If you're watching this now, guess what? Congratulations, you made it to fucking Sunday. How's your hangover? Hair of the dog, baby, because the game's right around the corner. Yeah, this is it. I don't know, for some reason, I've always loved the Super Bowl. I had this fanaticism about the Super Bowl. As you'll find out today, how much useless knowledge old Ron Mexico here knows about the Super Bowl. I know way too much shit about one goddamn game. Hope today to figure out why I'm that obsessed with the Super Bowl and why I like the Super Bowl. Coming in, our guest today is going to be Greg Hall. Man has seen more Super Bowls than I have, so I like to test his knowledge, see how he does. Plus, the last time he was on the show, I never did get a chance to go over his bold NFL predictions for this year. A lot of times, Greg is, on the money with about his predictions on the upcoming season. This year, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. I think I know what it was, but holy shit, brother, you were way the fuck off. Yeah, we're gonna have a good show. We'll talk about that and this and that, and you know how this thing goes, man. It'll start in one direction and not the band, and wind up going some other fucking convoluted way. So this show also this week is sponsored by Duvel. This was a lovely birthday gift. Thanks. What the fuck were the cards and letters from you assholes? Old Ron Mexico turned a year older last week, and this is one of my lovely presents from, I believe, my nephew, Hamilton the dog. Knows his Uncle Ron has a bit of an imbibing issue and loves his Belgian beer. So thanks, Hammy. Uncle Ron appreciates it. Well, in a blink of an eye, just stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Greg Hall on the Stiff Arm with Ron Mexico. See, blink of a fucking eye. We're back here on the Stiff Arm with Brett Favre. So as you heard, my pitch man, well, not my pitch man, my what do you call it, the voiceover guy that just parroted the name of the show, of course, is what I said it was. He's here, Juan, straight from the what's that diner?
The Paddock Diner in Palmer, hon.
Yeah, that one, the Pollock Diner. Greg Hall. What?
Oh, I think there are blocks there.
It might be one or two. What's happening, brother?
Nothing much. When we started, I remember the good old days, you know, way back when you first started the show, and I would jump on every once in a while, and I missed when you would say, on the Stiff Arm, and I would go, the Stiff Arm. and now it's like you don't even give a brother a chance to jump in and interrupt you.
Hey, I do once again have to thank you for challenging me for coming up with a name for this show, because this show, it came very close. I came very close to using a name you originally gave me, which was Jockstraps, which I thought was fucking. That just gave me a little Mike Balin-like giggle at a One Direction concert. You know, when I did hear that, just like Jockstrap. Yeah.
Pick me.
But then I was like, nah. I was like, I got to come up with one of my own, and for some reason, I don't know what inspired Stiff Arm, but I was just like, that works.
It sounds naughty.
Yeah, it is a football term, but it's still with a little bit of, you know, like George Carlin would say, pussyfoot. Hello, boys. Yeah. I have pussyfoot. You know, that makes you giggle.
By the way, happy belated birthday, dude. Your birthday was last week. How was it? What'd you get to do?
Thanks, man. I ate bread, actually. That was my birthday present.
Oh, you went you went anti-paleo.
Yeah, I listened to the band. I listened to the band and everything, man. It was great.
Pimp slap the caveman.
If a picture could paint 1,000 words, then how can I paint you?
Actually, I think it's
Am I wrong?
Why can't I paint you? Don't fuck with me on bread lyrics. I'll smack you all day. That's my band. That's my band there.
I would love to rent them kids out. Like, you guys ever heard of a band called Bread? What?
Yeah.
Who?
And their big song, If.
Their big song is called Carbs. was the big name of their, as in with their hips they didn't have. No, I went to, I did indulge, not on bread, but on really not delicious, but bad for you Puerto Rican food. I wanted something called bistec empanizado, which is essentially breaded steak, and something called mofongo, which is like Puerto Rican mashed potatoes. So, and a big pitcher of sangria. So Ron was very happy by the end of that meal. It was delicious.
There you go.
I was, and
Why don't you could spare some of that, man. I mean, I know you're a workout guru. I know you're a fitness freak. I know you look, as they say, over the pond there. You look tight.
yeah,
but
like Toby.
I remember you with some meat on your bones. You're kind of like this.
I do.
You know what you are? You're Hollywood built. That's what you are.
Thank you.
Ever see those like actors when you see them on camera, you're like, damn, that dude's buff. And then you meet him in person, you're like, I could knock you over with a stream of urine.
Listen, I could have been an actor, but I wound up here.
There you go.
I don't have to look good. I just have to be clear. So, so it's Super Bowl Sunday. So I put a question up on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and I was asking everyone, and like 2 people participated because my friends suck. What was the first Super Bowl you ever watched?
That I remember fully?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was just a little dude, I did see Super Bowl III.
Right.
But I didn't know what was going on. But I did know the vibe in the room. So I mean, I and the repercussions afterwards because I grew up in Baltimore. I probably, and then I don't remember Baltimore's next Super Bowl. With the last second field goal. I remember in the newspapers them getting psyched about it because the local Baltimore paper once a week for the Super Bowl season they had an artist sketch, a really nice, like a Norman Rockwell. I mean, more detailed, like a really good artist sketch,
right,
of different Baltimore Colts that were on the team. So you had to collect them all from the newspaper, from the sports section.
Oh, cool.
And I remember that there was a player named Norm Bulash.
Oh, yeah, he's played for the Dolphins.
He played for you guys for a while.
Bow-legged as fuck. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Benny Malone. Never mind. But yeah, Norm Bulash did play for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Norm Bulash had like this bulldog face and these like really weird-looking blue eyes. And his sketch was pretty intense, and it scared the hell out of my little brother. So that one I actually did save, and I would like hide it under his pillow, or I put it in his underwear drawer. So I do remember that from Super Bowl V.
And then we had silence. See, this is the unpredictable thing with technology: is call drops in, call drops out. Yeah, the NFL usually always censors Paul when he's on the air. But hey, you there?
Am I out?
Yeah,
you went perfectly.
I think we got censored by the league again.
I got you perfectly.
Okay, you went absolutely. It went quiet on my end.
Really?
Yeah, weird. So Norm Bulash.
I got Norm Bulash
under your brother's pillow.
Yeah.
Is this before or after you?
First one would probably be.
Is this before or after you wiped your balls with the University of Maryland towel?
Oh, that was much later. That was much later. You don't dry off with the University of Maryland towel. No way. It's brothers. You screw with each other. No, my first Super Bowl that I remember was your boys. Super Bowl VII.
Oh, so when they played the Redskins.
Yeah, that was the first one that I watched all the way through. That I knew what was going on.
Right. See, that was my sister's first one as well. Mine was 13. Was the second Cowboys-Steelers Super Bowl.
That was a great one.
That was that's one where Jackie Slater was sliding across the end zone and dropped it. It's got to be the sickest man in America.
Jackie Smith.
Jackie Smith, I mean.
Yeah, you said Helen Slater.
I said Supergirl. I said the girl from The Secret of My Success. Yes, she was in the end zone. She slid across. It was Jackie Smith. Jesus Christ, been a long day. Woo!
It's not, and I usually, two things. I don't usually go into dick mode like that and correct people. I just let it go. But very rarely does Ron Mexico make a football mistake. So like a fumble, man. I jumped on that sumbitch.
Dude, last night we had. I'm now playing. For some reason, I think it's a great. The older I get, I should play in 2 football leagues instead of 1. So now I'm playing in 2 leagues. I'm playing one for where I work, and the other league is my Thursday one that I've been playing in. Since they had leather helmets, and for. Like the second play of the game, I pulled the fucking Super Bowl 48. I fucking snapped the ball over the quarterback's head into the end zone for a safety. I was like,
nice.
I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was like. Ah, fuck. But then, like 2 plays later, we picked it off at their end of the field and then wound up scoring. So I said, see, this is all in the grand scheme of things. It was a deliberate safety on my part. So
you got to build up that drama.
Yeah. It's all for the ratings, man. Yeah, it's all about the ratings.
Right.
But
you gotta follow the script.
But for some reason, I've been trying to figure out why of all the things about the NFL that I know. For some reason, Super Bowls are by far, I think I have the most knowledge of, that I can just rattle off shit. I'm like Rain Man when it comes to this bullshit. I'm like idiot savant level when it comes to it.
Couple reasons. First off, there's only 50 of them.
Correct.
So it's not like, you have to remember multiple seasons all the way back to 1910.
Yeah, it's not like trying to memorize
or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like trying to memorize a World Series or a Stanley Cup.
So I think that's a big deal.
Right.
And they have incredible moments. I mean, it's
well, you know what? Yeah, that's true. You just nailed the head. The thing too is it's the only out of the 4 major professional sports. It's the only one that's one and done. There's none of the 7-game bullshit. It's you either solve it in 4 quarters or see you next year.
What are the 4 major sports?
I
did not know there were that many.
What do you think the 4 major sports are?
I mean, other than curling?
Well, that. Zach put you up to that one.
I don't know if it's counted as a sport. I do. Hot dog eating.
Yes, it is a sport.
Timed. Not just eating hot dogs. You have to time it. It's those guys are athletes.
What about competitive butter eating? Have you seen that?
No.
There's actually.
Wait. Before we go any further, because I know you got limited time. Have you seen the weightlifting woman who lifts weights with her vagina?
No. But I would like to have sex with her.
Up. I just saw the headline for it, and then saw there was a video for it, and I went, oh hell no. So I didn't actually look at it, but a friend of mine was telling me about it last night. And what she does is she ties weights and different things to a rope attached to a rock, and she puts the rock up and in.
Not the wrestler.
Is what?
Not the wrestler.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just clarifying for the audience.
No.
I don't want to get sued.
Not Dwayne. That's embarrassing. Even though he's a big movie star now and a big wrestler and everything, and can you smell what the Rock's cooking? Which is a whole other thing now. You can't ever brag about a guy named Dwayne in you. You just can't. I mean, that's like the end of the conversation. Girl, I had the best sex in the world last night. Really? With who? Dwayne. So, do you want to go get some shoes? You just drop that conversation.
Just drop the mic and run.
Yeah, with Dwayne. Hey.
So, where the hell were we?
Well, trivia? Because you were bragging on the fact that you know everything there is about.
I'm bragging on myself, baby.
Did you go all Lou Rolls on me?
I just dropped the Lou Roll. Oh, by the way, man, last time you were on when you coined the new phrase, you got to bang the ring.
You got to ring.
Oh man, my brother-in-law loves using that. He goes, "Got to bang the fucking ring, baby."
That's right.
Let's take it off.
So we're gonna bang.
We need to get some shirts made.
Find out who's going to bang the ring today, man.
We're going to find who's going to bang the ring on Sunday. So what got me started was as I'm watching the AFC Championship game. You know, I'm sitting there doing the facts and figures in my head. I'm like, okay, so who's the designated home team? So the designated home team is the AFC this year, because when the Super Bowl started, basically for those of you that don't know, the Super Bowl got started because until 1960, the NFL was pretty much the only show in town. There were a ton of other rival leagues that tried to overthrow the NFL and failed, except there was one franchise that did exceptionally well, which is the Cleveland Browns. They were in a league called the AAFC, the All-American Football Conference, and they were like destroying their conference. And the NFL brought them in as an expansion franchise in, I don't know, let's say 1950. We're taking a guess here, but it was early 50s. And the Browns came in and just dominated for a couple of seasons. It was probably the last time fucking Cleveland had ever had any relevance other than butts of jokes. So then the Browns came in and the Browns became a more of a expansion cornerstone franchise, so to speak, in a way. So as the league went on, finally this guy named Lamar Hunt, who is the late owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, wanted an NFL franchise. And the NFL said thanks, but no thanks. So he was all pissed off, and on a flight home back to Dallas, he took some stationery from American Airlines and he started writing a business plan of making his own league. And he found a couple of these crazy other businessmen. They put a league together, and that became the AFL, which is now the modern-day AFC. So the AFL and the NFL...
For those of you, by the way, who aren't quite sure who Lamar Hunt is, he also played Les Nessman in WKRP in Cincinnati.
Holy shit, he did look like fucking Les Nessman. So the AFL started to get some clout and tried to change some things, and they encouraged more passing, and the NFL was more of a traditional kind of 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of league, and they wanted something for the newer generation that was up and coming, to give them something they wanted to watch. And the AFL started succeeding, and they were able to compete for the same talent as the NFL, because a network called NBC paid a shitload of money to the AFL, and the AFL was able to compete and get talent. So now the NFL looked at this as a threat, and it was a losing battle for the NFL. And then the old adage, if you can't beat them, join them. And that's kind of how the Super Bowl started. And that was part of the agreement what was contingent upon the leagues merging was that a champion from the two rival leagues would play each other in what now is known as the Super Bowl. Now, the first Super Bowl wasn't called the Super Bowl. This was called the World's Championship of Professional Football. Fucking exciting name. Way to go. Super Bowl actually came from this. It was a ball that Lamar Hunt's kid had called the Super Ball. And it would be able to bounce over the roof of a house. It was like this really concentrated rubber ball. And since the stadiums were all shaped like bowls, do the fucking math, that's how you got the Super Bowl. That's how the name became what it is now, that I don't even know. I'll probably get sued for saying Super Bowl. I think I'm supposed to say big game, but fuck you, it's Super Bowl. And now it's become, an unofficial national holiday. Fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, it was the two leagues became so competitive at that time, and really the AFL had come out of nowhere in a very short amount of time. The TV contract really helped them out.
Yeah,
so once you get that kind of cash, you could be competitive. And then it really came down to a coin toss, and Hillary Clinton won.
So the first Super Bowl was played in Los Angeles in the LA Coliseum, which is now home to, I can say it with pride, and I told you fucking people this was going to happen, the Los Angeles Rams. No longer the Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis. They are now straight up the Los Angeles Rams. There's almost balance with the league, Greg. I mean, all we would have to do, but at this point, you know what? You guys have won more Super Bowls than when they were in Baltimore. But if we can get if there was Baltimore Colts again and we can have Oilers again, then I'd be it would almost be all right at that point.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, the Ravens have obviously caught on very well, and they've built a really good history here themselves.
Yeah, you got
two
titles now. It's like, yeah, fuck it. You can have Colts. We got this.
Well, no, I mean, we'd love to have both. It would be kind of cool just to keep switching jerseys every time, you know. Like, if we play Pittsburgh, we'll be the Ravens. If we play, you know, whoever, we'll be the Colts. The Indianapolis should just be like the Crows or something. You know what I mean? Like Indianapolis Crows. There's not corn out there.
The Cougars. They could be the Cougars after John Cougar Mellencamp.
Oh, yeah, have his little face on the side of the thing.
Rain on the Scarecrow, blood on the plow.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, kids, Google. Never mind. So, did you happen to see on NFL Network they did a rebroadcast of the first Super Bowl? Did you watch that?
I did.
What did you think of it?
Well, there were two things. I loved the fact that I could see the plays that weren't just the one highlights that they show over and over again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was cool. The nothing plays. Because I always loved those anyway. Because you know, you only ever with a lot of our NFL heroes, especially the guys that came around before you know we were cognizant of the game. You only ever get to see the highlight reel. You know, the same 10 plays over and over again they always run. So it was kind of cool to see Jerry Kramer blocking on a play that only gained 2 yards. You know what I mean? It was kind of nice. It was. You know what I didn't know? I didn't know that Len Dawson was so damn mobile.
Yeah.
Because all you ever see him is matriculating the ball down the field. You know what I mean? The quick passing game and stuff. I'm watching. I'm like, that guy was, you know, everyone talks about Russell Wilson now and all these other players that, you know, are so mobile and they're changing the NFL. I'm like, Len Dawson never stayed still. He rolled to the left, he rolled to the right, he backed up, he threw a row. You know, he was moving all over the place. I didn't know he was that mobile.
Yeah, I mean, well, neither did I. I mean, the one thing about Len Dawson, though, that cracked me up the most was when they showed that picture of him in the locker room smoking the cigarette. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I told you that one clip that I love that they don't show it anymore. There's a clip of, like, in the last 2 minutes, Ken Stabler coming over to the sideline to talk with then John Madden as the coach and to discuss what they're going to do with the 2-minute warning. And they run over and they both fire up cigarettes. And they're both smoking back and forth, talking about what they're going to do. And the Stabler just throws a cigarette back down, puts on his helmet, and runs out. You know, runs back out on the field. I'm like, I miss those days. That was, you know, I'm surprised half those guys didn't smoke on the field. Like the huddle was just one big pile of cigarette butts.
Well, it's like Biletnikoff. Like there was a story I heard about Biletnikoff that they said, for those who don't know, Fred Biletnikoff was a receiver that played with Ken Stabler for the Raiders. At Hall of Famer, and Biletnikoff, they used to have to take the cigarette out of his mouth because he had so much fucking stickum on his hands.
Yeah,
and they
that and gum. That
and gum, and he'd come running out of the tunnel with all this smoke blowing out of his helmet and the ear holes. He looked like a steamship.
Yeah, so that was. But the thing that bugged me about the Super Bowl thing was they had a panel of guys.
Oh, it was Mariucci telling us what he did when he was 11 years old. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. If I hear one more goddamn time that I was a Packer fan, 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 I was a Packer fan. Okay, we got it. But for 3 hours, it was like when your buddies get together or a bunch of guys want to get together and they want to watch a cool movie that you all have never seen before. And then you got the 2 assholes that don't shut the fuck up during the movie. Oh, this is where Han Solo with the Millennium Falcon comes up again. Have you guys seen this part? This is awesome. Now, what did you think about the Millennium Falcon? Like, when you were little and you first saw the Millennium Falcon, the first one, wasn't that kick? Shut the fuck up. We're watching the movie.
It was like a big Chris Farley bit. It was almost like.
Yeah, oh my God. I mean, I actually, to be honest, about like 5 minutes in, I was like, this is not going to work. So I just pressed mute and just watched the footage.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I was watching the footage and I just kept reading all the hard facts on the right hand side. I kept reading.
Yeah, I just I'm glad everyone's excited about the game, whatever. And I understand you get a panel together to talk about the shit. Shut up. You know, you had your segments before and after commercials.
Right.
then you pulled on old players and you talked to them about their perspective. That's great. That's great. But during the game, I would have been much more impressed if they would have just run the commentators at the time. Let them tell me about the game.
You know, I'm still in shock, and I think you and I talked about this a couple of weeks back. I was still surprised that there was like no physical copy. Like there's not a video copy. This is the fucking Super Bowl. But then again, back then, I mean, it was. I mean, it was nowhere near the level that it is now. I mean, it was still kind of a novelty thing. I mean, the game didn't even sell out. It was a 90,000 seat stadium.
A lot of people thought it was a joke game.
Yeah. And you know, in the first half, I mean, Kansas City was in that game, and it was pretty much like the third quarter, like Green Bay just opened it up and it was done. But you know, the thing that, and that's what really made me think about that when you said that about Dawson being such a mobile quarterback. It's so funny how people think a lot of this shit is so revolutionary. I got news for you folks. I mean, offenses in the NFL are almost like fashion. Things come into vogue and things come in and out of vogue constantly. And right now, the hot thing is to have a quarterback that can move. But that's been going on since fucking Len Dawson.
But that's always been there. I mean, I don't understand the short attention span football players have, or football fans have. You know, they'll look at that Colin Kaepernick from Frisco. And I remember when they were trying to push him down our throats as the latest new model of what a quarterback is. Oh my God, he's so fucking mobile. He can run the ball. And I'm sitting there naming 52 other freaking quarterbacks over the past 3 decades who were that guy.
Right.
They're the same exact guy, whether it's Cordell Stewart, Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, who was the big-ass dude from
Culpepper?
Chicago. There was a Bobby... No, Culpepper, but Culpepper was another one they went crazy on.
Right.
But there was a guy in the 60s. It was like Bobby Douglas or something.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't throw the ball worth a damn, but he was a big dude. Roman Gabriel.
Right.
Everyone was like, oh, you know, he revolutionized the game because he was so big and you couldn't... He's Cam Newton.
Yep.
That's who Roman Gabriel was. 40 years before there was Cam Newton, there was a Roman Gabriel. And then, you know, all those other guys. They're guys have run the ball before. Go back to Bob Waterfield. Go back to any of those. I mean, it's not a new thing. But people are like, oh, my God. You know, oh, my God. You know, he's the newest guy for this. No, and no.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. You know, the only thing that it makes me think of a line from this. There was a Simpsons episode where they were like banning snake hunting or something like that, and they have the mayor on the Simpsons sounds like one of the Kennedys, and he goes, look, I killed 16 snakes. They go, up yours, Quimby, and he goes, bunch of fickle-minded mushheads is what he called them, and that's pretty much what. Most NFL things, you're absolutely right. It's like they're just so painfully dumb. And this is why I like this. This is the great thing about this show is I like calling you people out on that shit. Like, you fucking stupid. There's nothing new under the fucking sun. There really isn't. And you know, it's just. Oh, okay. This is where I was going with this. It's like it's become very, very sterile. The league, where it's very much, you know, and now because it's Madison Avenue and money and everything plays into it. But what I loved about those old games, and like you're saying about, you know, they're on the sidelines smoking a fucking cigarette. Like my brother and I were having a discussion, and back me up on this. We were talking about the last coach we ever saw that had any sort of sideline fashion swag that the kids like to use was Bum Phillips. It did not get any better than the attire that man wore in the league. And it's sad that the league doesn't have... Those of you that don't know, Bum Phillips was the head coach of the Houston Oilers. Bum's coaching attire generally was a pair of jeans, a belt buckle that Captain America could fight with in the Avengers, a cowboy shirt, and a 10-gallon hat. And usually a huge...
What do they call those things? Bolo ties?
No, he didn't ever have the bolo tie. But then when they would go,
he didn't have a bolo tie.
That's Phillip Rivers, and then they would go, and then when they would go to always lose in Pittsburgh in the conference or divisional rounds, Bum would bust out that fucking Sherpa jacket. He looked like Brokeback Mountain style. I mean, it was fucking awesome. Every time I see that, I just laugh my ass off looking at Bum Phillips.
Well, there's certain things like if I could control space and time. and make an ultimate football league.
See, this is an old conversation we had. We used to work together at the haunted house.
Yeah, and if it was the Greg Hall football league, where I cut out all the bullshit, and this is just it, straight up, I would make a rule that one of the 30 or 32 teams, whatever I decide gets to happen, one of them must have Bum Phillips as a coach. I don't care which one. One of you must hire Bum Phillips as a coach.
Even though he's dead, still. Just prop him up like Weekend at Bernie's.
Well, that's what I said. If I had over space and time, if I could control, if I could make like a greatest players of all time.
If you could turn back time, Sheriff.
A contest of champions.
Right.
And just put everything together and traverse all the different eras of football and see who could be the best of the best and put together teams. I would have different rules in place, definitely different from today, and I would have I'd bring back a lot of old school stuff.
Stram.
One of my rules would be one of you guys has to have Bum Phillips as coach. That's the rule.
Hank Stram would have to be in there. Hank
Stram's in there. Yeah, and I would have certain criteria. If you're a Hall of Famer gets criteria over people who aren't Hall of Famer because you only have so many slots. If you're picking from the greatest of all time and you only have 30 or 32 teams, that's a very finite amount of quarterbacks you're going to have. Every team just has the one quarterback. So a Hall of Famer would get the nod over somebody else, But regardless, Bum Phillips, who is not in the Hall of Fame, somebody must have him. Somebody.
Well, before I get into the Super Bowl thing, you said Hall of Fame. It's right here. Let's talk about it real quick. All right, this is what I want. This is what I'm confused on. All right, well, I'm not confused, but so for those of you that don't know, the night before the Super Bowl, they vote on who's going to the Hall of Fame. This year, there's a lot of bigger names. And what I'm more disappointed about the Hall of Fame, and it seems like it's going more towards like, hey, who's the big name that we can just vote in just to get people to watch and get revenue money? It's not even about. It seems like it's more substance, I guess, versus guys who deserve to be in there. And there's a lot of guys who deserve to be in there. And one of them was someone you mentioned earlier, and we've talked about on various platforms that the show's been on. Is a guy named Jerry Kramer, who was an offensive lineman that basically, was an integral part of what made turned Green Bay into a legendary franchise. And this guy's still not in the Hall of Fame. But yet someone like Terrell Owens, unfortunately, is going to get in before him. And shit like that pisses me off. Do you think Stabler? Stabler's going to get in because he's dead, and because he had a brain injury. So the NFL's going to do everything they can to damage control that bullshit. So they're going to put the snake in. But do you think he was a guy that should have been in years ago? You got to see Stabler play in his prime. You tell me. I just know his book and just lore is all I know about Stabler.
Here's the deal with Stabler. Should Stabler have gone in? He should have gone in earlier. What hurt Stabler was he played for the Raiders for the bulk of his career. Then he went to Houston, and he wound up in New Orleans when New Orleans sucked. So his last 5 years in the league weren't really that good. He threw a lot of interceptions, but everyone did back then. He just, it was like the last 5 years of his career was kind of But you can say that for a lot of players.
Right.
The last few years of their career. You can just go endlessly through the list. Guys stayed in the league because they were still getting paid.
Right.
So you stayed as long as you could back then. But for the time that he was in, I would have put him in because he was, everyone talks about your statistics. And then we get into the hypocrisy of statistics. He was a super accurate passer. He was completing 60% of his passes when the league average was way below that. Well, you completed 53% of your passes. You were awesome. So he completed 60% of his passes, a lot of touchdowns.
And it was more of a running game back then, too.
Yeah, it was much more of a running game. But the thing about Stabler, it's like you can't put Namath in and then say, well, Stabler's stats weren't good enough. Jesus Christ, have you ever looked at Joe Namath's stats?
Yeah, Joe Namath
in the modern era, he is by far the worst quarterback who is in the Hall of Fame. Barely completed 50% of his passes. I think in like the 13 years he played, he only had like 3 years where he passed over 50%. His highest completion ever in a year was like 52.6, something ridiculously horrible. He had very few years where he ever threw more touchdowns than interceptions. He threw like 75 more interceptions than touchdowns career-wise. You know, so you can't put a loser like that in the Hall of Fame because he's from bullshit New York, and then look at Stabler's stats and knock him down for that. The raw fact of the matter about Stabler was this. When you played Stabler, you shit your pants.
Sure.
Because that guy beat you. That guy beat you. Whereas Namath barely won 36% of his games. Namath like barely won over a third of his games in his career. Stabler, look at the holy roller, the sea of hands, goes to the post. There's all these iconic names for plays, and he's involved in almost every one of them. He was this guy who, let's put it this way. I used to think he was the luckiest quarterback in NFL history because he would just throw these passes that were impossible, and it would wind up the winning touchdown. He would just do this shit that was like he was going to beat you somehow, and you can't beat lucky. Tom Brady has made an entire fucking career out of it. The difference between seriously,
yeah.
People say to me, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback, and I'm like, well, I'm glad you have your 5 minutes of knowledge. Brady, I will give this, is the luckiest quarterback to ever play. I thought Stabler was. Brady figured out a way to trump Stabler. Stabler had these incredibly lucky plays that he would do. The only way to trump that is what Brady does. Brady has incredibly lucky wins, and Brady's not even on the field when the lucky play happens.
Yeah, I mean, the fucking Super Bowl. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, name the game-winning plays that Brady's actually on the field for.
You know what Brady's...
Other than the tuck rule.
God damn it, that was what I was about to say. That was his luckiest play ever, was that fucking thing.
Yeah, his entire career is based off of the worst call in the NFL history. The franchise is based off of that. But if you look at the big clutch wins he does, it's Vinatieri kicking a field goal. Yeah. It's some dude making an interception at the last second in the end zone of the Super Bowl. It's some San Diego Charger picking off a pass. All he's got to do is lay down. Game is over. And you win the playoff game. Instead, he runs like an ass clown. He fumbles, Patriots cover, get the ball back, and go down. You know, you look at these plays, Brady has not a goddamn thing to do with them. That's the only way you can trump with. Stabler did it himself. Stabler scared the shit out of people because if there was 2 minutes left, you were dead. You were just done. Stabler was going to kill you. And statistics aside and everything else, the Raiders were a winning team back then. It was a swagger they had.
Very much. They invented that shit.
You know, it's still legendary. They're still living off of that 70s swagger. It's been gone a long time. They're still living off of that image. And Stabler was a major part of that.
His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash. With a silver hat about his head and a bristling black mustache. That's what... I mean, they had one of the best fucking song. They had their own fucking theme song on NFL Films. The Raiders March.
Well, just the fact that out of all those teams, they got their own.
Yeah.
Where's the Tampa Bay song? Where's the Cincinnati Bengals song? There is none. But we all know the Raiders.
Fuck yeah, man.
You know, so I mean, he should go in. He should have already gone in. I personally have a real problem with the NFL sitting, playing politics and chess, trying to get this guy in over this guy, and this team has too many. So until you put in this Cleveland Brown, we're not voting any more Pittsburgh Steelers in, and all this other bullshit. And then they jerk around too long, and the guy dies, and then they all scramble around like they're trying to hide the body. Well, quick, put him back in. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Sorry, Stabler. Sorry. You know, you got a guy like Gene Hickerson, who was one of the greatest guards of the 50s and 60s. An amazing guard. No one knows who the hell he is, but he played like over 200 games. And he blocked for everybody from Jim Brown to Leroy Kelly. They all became 1,000-yard rushers. One of the greatest blockers, pulling guards in history. He's textbook. Beautiful player for the Cleveland Browns. And they waited until they had to roll him out in a freaking wheelchair. He didn't even know what the hell was going on, and I think he died like 6 months after. Why did you wait so long? That's asinine.
All right,
That's asinine. They're not going to put Jerry Kramer until he dies.
Exactly. Okay, here's who's up for this year. Okay, Morton Anderson, kicker. No, you're not going in. I mean, Morton Anderson, great kicker, but no, you're not going to put a kicker in. Not in this round.
The problem is, and I will say this, does he deserve to go in? Yes, he does. He absolutely, that was his job. Kicking was his job. And he was by far...
He was good. He was damn good.
He was the best. He was the best. Morton Anderson rewrote how kicking is supposed to be done. He did it better than anybody. He did it as long as anybody. I think he's the NFL's all-time leading scorer. I'm not sure. So he has clout. He has balls. He has, awards and everything else. When you are the player of a decade for a certain team, and you're the fucking kicker,
yeah.
Either, number one, your team sucks for that decade, but you're also that damn good. But the problem is, because there's only finite people to get in every year, who does Morton Anderson bounce out?
Right. So here's what we got. You got Morton Anderson, Steve Atwater. No, he's not going in. All right.
Atwater was good, but I think I like what Rod Woodson said one time about Jerome Bettis. He said, you got to play with Bettis, you knew Bettis. Is Bettis a Hall of Fame player? And he said, it's the Hall of Fame, it's the best of the best. It's not the Hall of the Great.
True.
And he said Jerome Bettis had some great years, but Jerome Bettis is not a Hall of Fame player. And I kind of feel the same way about Atwater. Atwater was a great player. He'd lay you out.
Yeah.
He was a dominant safety.
He was the first guy to lay a good lick on Christian Okoye, who was like, what the
just highlight reel.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers but I also remember him missing a receiver and knocking out his own player in a Super Bowl. So there you go. We're even. But he was a great player, and you'd love to have him on your team. But he's a Hall of Fame guy. Then you got to start looking back. Well, is he Larry Wilson? Is he Ronnie Lott? Is he? You know what I mean? You got to start going through, and you kind of start looking at. I would put Kenny Easley in before I put in Steve Atwater, and no one knows who Kenny Easley is.
Seahawk.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I would put him in before.
All right.
He was a bigger game player.
Here's a guy near and dear to your heart he should have been in already. And it almost sounds like a mob name when you say it. Don Coryell.
Oh, we already cracked the crabs and drank the wine.
Don Coryell... First of all, Don Coryell is a jokingly inspiration for the Cardinals logo because his fucking profile looked just like the bird when he coached them.
There are two problems with Don Coryell, and I love Don Coryell. And he was an evil, nasty coach. He really, truly hated his opponent, and he would teach that to his players. We hate that other team this week. He really was just a beautiful, vengeful coach, way beyond the passing game. Everything that they do in the NFL now has come from Don Coryell. He was a passing guru, genius coach, a great teacher. The two problems with Coryell never won a Super Bowl, so he gets put in that class where he never even made it to a Super Bowl. At least Bud Grant and Marv Levy, at least they made it to multiple Super Bowls and didn't win. Coryell never even got there. And the second thing is, for as phenomenal as his offenses were, he literally just went, defense, what the hell's that? Couldn't give two shits about the defense. Because his theory was, if I'm racking up 55 points a game, catch me.
Right.
They would lose games 47-48. Wow. It was, that was against him. But yeah, he's beautiful. He's beautiful. They did this interview with him, NFL interview with him, back when NFL Films used to do that kind of stuff. And he has this big lakeside cabin that he lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And during the interview, as he's doing the interview in the middle of the woods, because he loves the woods, it's so peaceful, his phone rings. He has his phone mounted on a random oak tree outside.
It's like
That gets you in the Hall of Fame alone. That gets you in the Hall of Fame in my mind.
it was like Green Acres.
Yeah, he didn't even have to climb the tree. It wasn't even like a telephone pole. It is, if you look, it's right smack dab in the middle of an oak tree. He's got a white telephone right there in his oak tree in the middle of the woods because he likes to walk out in the woods, and it was before cell phones, so if somebody called, he could walk to that tree, pick up the phone. It's an old, like, kitchen phone. That'd be on your wall. It's in an oak tree. It's stuck to an oak tree. That gets you in the Hall of Fame.
All right, Terrell Davis, should he go in or should he not go in?
I love Terrell Davis. I understand that he played too short of a time.
But Gale Sayers got in too, and he played too short of a time also.
Gale Sayers, Doak Walker, there's a lot of guys that played a short time. And it wasn't like he retired or whatever. He wanted to play. His knee was gone. His freaking knee was gone. It's not his fault.
Right.
His knee's gone. So you're going to penalize him because he died in the glory of the game? You know what I mean? I mean, I say you prop him up like El Cid and run him out there again. You know, here's the raw facts with him. Every running back wants to gain 1,000 yards rushing your rookie year. He did that.
Right.
Every running back wants to lead the league in rushing. He did that.
Got an MVP.
Everybody wants to have a league MVP. He did that. Everyone wants a Super Bowl ring. He's got 2.
Yeah.
Every running back wants to gain over 2,000 yards. He did that. Every running back wants to get over 20 touchdowns last season. He did that. Everyone wants a Super Bowl MVP. He did that. So if you're looking at criteria, I would put him in just for the fact that he did all of those things in his short career. There are guys that play 15 years that don't have half those credentials. He did it actually like 4 years, because I think he spent like 3 years trying to come back.
Right.
But he did that in 4 freaking years.
All right.
That's even more impressive to me.
All right.
Even more impressive. How many Super Bowls did Elway win before Terrell Davis?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yep.
Dungy, should he go in? He's going in. He's going in because he's a black coach. I said it. But the NFL is going to push that shit just to cover their ass.
Well,
Fair to say?
and this is exactly why I have a problem with Dungy. Overall in my life, I hate the freaking black thing and the white entitlement and this and that, whatever. I hate that bullshit. I loved years ago with the Rooney Rule when Carolina hired Ron Rivera. They said, wait, you didn't talk to any black coaches, so they were going to penalize them. And Jerry Richardson said, it doesn't say that. It says you have to interview a minority coach. And we did. We hired him. Ron Rivera is a minority. He's Hispanic. And the NFL went, fuck, loophole.
But it's true. I mean, and I think that rule is I think that rule is disgusting. I think it's just insulting. It's like,
I understand quota systems and all that. I understand you got to give it, and it does give a chance. Here's where I think it bothers me most. I don't give a shit if Tony Dungy was a green alien chick that Captain Kirk screwed. That's irrelevant to me. Everything about him is about whether he's the first black coach that won a Super Bowl and blah, blah, blah. This guy should just go in regardless of color. Fuck that. Push that away, people.
Dungy, let me tell you something. Dungy should go in because you know why? Dungy is the first coach to technically win a Super Bowl with 2 different franchises, even though he didn't win a Super Bowl with one franchise.
Well, he gave Gruden that team. He gave Gruden that beautiful team.
Yeah, goddamn right. That Buccaneer team was his guys, man. That's his ring.
That Buccaneer team was the perennial 2-14 team. They still are, but they're that perennial 2-14 team. And Dungy, over a good portion of time while he was there, turned them into perennial winners.
Yep.
That alone, is an amazing coaching job. Then he goes to Indianapolis, which really hadn't done shit, and he puts together a team that he flips it. He flips it. He goes to Indianapolis because he's a defensive guru.
He wins with
Everyone
offense.
said he cut his teeth with the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Right.
and went to the Minnesota Vikings and built great defenses there. Built, obviously, the Tampa Bay defense that made them there. Then he goes to Indianapolis, and what was it? In the entire decade, I don't think they ever had fewer than 10 wins in a season.
Yep.
I mean, I have to check the numbers, but it's astronomical. It's like 11-5, 12-4, 13-3, 14-2, 10-6, 11-5. Throughout an entire decade that he was there, and he just had shitty defenses.
Yep.
But somehow they shut you down. Bob Sanders was their top player as a safety, and he had it in his contract he didn't play more than 4 weeks of the season. The rest he was on IR.
Injured.
Yeah, I still get paid for the whole year, right? Okay, well, I'm only playing 4 games. And Dwight Freeney. I mean, other than those two guys, they really didn't have. I love Dungy. I love Dungy. And one of the coolest stories I ever heard about Dungy was one of the Indianapolis players was saying this, that in Dungy's first group practice ever in the meeting room, they all came in. It's obviously their first day, kind of like back to school day. Everyone's rowdy, crazy, going whatever. Dungy's standing up in the front of the room. Doesn't say a word. Just stands there. Just stands there. And then finally everyone kind of gets that nervous, like the teacher's just staring at us. What's going on? Everyone finally shuts the fuck up, quiets down or whatever, and Dungy goes, I wanted to welcome you guys to the very first meeting we're having. I'm never going to speak above this volume level. So let's get started. That's badass. That's badass. I'm never going to, God, shut up! No, I'm never going to speak above this volume level. All right, let's get started. What a way to tell your audience, listen, you better listen. I mean, I love Dungy. I love Dungy. I love his little pixie ears. I love everything about him. I think Dungy should go in.
He does.
And like I said, throw away the I understand. I understand he kicked open a lot of doors for black coaches. He's obviously the first one ever won a Super Bowl, kind of like the Doug Williams thing.
Right.
But Doug Williams was still a quarterback. I hate that kind of stigma and that category and whatever. I mean, just put Dungy in because he's a great coach. Period. Period.
He gives a shit what he is. Favre, we all know he's going in. I mean, we don't have to debate and go on. He is definitely the one I'd say that he's in for sure.
Who's that?
Favre.
Favre? I'll have to. Well, I don't want to Google search now, but okay, I'll take your word on it. I'll look him up later.
Kevin Green. Just 10 seconds or less on Kevin Green. Okay, Marvin Harrison.
Well, Kevin Green real quick. I have trouble with Kevin Green. Here's my problem with Kevin Green, and I think this is one of the reasons he gets passed over. Kind of the Morton Anderson thing. Kevin Green was phenomenal at sacking the quarterback. And I know the NFL loves that, and they put in people who maybe shouldn't go in, like John Randall, Chris Dolman, guys like that, because there was the glory of the sack.
Right.
But he didn't. That was all he did. I mean, I know it kind of sounds horrible, but when you think of all the other linebackers out there who can cover the pass, who can pass rush, who can stop the run, who can chase down a guy from behind, I don't see Kevin Green. I see Kevin Green blitzing every play and going after the quarterback. And not saying you don't need that, but everybody knew if you wanted to stop Kevin Green, just keep running right at him.
Here, I'll just.
That was it.
We got Marvin Harrison, yay or nay?
Yeah, the guy had the best hands of his era. Only knock against Marvin Harrison that I have, and you can kind of look it up. only knock I had about Marvin Harrison is he was the anti-Lynn Swan. In that, the second they got to the playoffs, he disappeared.
Yeah.
Name Marvin Harrison's big playoff play, let alone a game. Name his gigantic play in the playoffs. You can't. He just vanished in the playoffs.
Joe Jacoby.
No.
Edgerrin James.
I don't know much about him. I actually looked him up earlier this week because I was going through the Hall of Fame guys and I went, Edgerrin James, holy shit. And it was like, okay, I knew he was with Indianapolis for a while because they tried to make those guys the new triplets.
Yep.
And then he went to Arizona, I think.
Yep.
And I looked at his stats. His stats are really impressive. I just don't ever really remember the dude. So I don't know that goes against him as far as impact. It's pretty sad when a guy has those kind of stats, and I'm like, I didn't know that much about him.
John Lynch.
Who?
John Lynch, safety for the Bucks.
He should have been in before Sapp.
Yep.
Sapp used to get his ass kicked as much as Sapp got in because he was working for the NFL Network at the time, and the NFL loves the soundbite and loves the mouth. And he was a mouth you couldn't even understand. You needed subtitles. But Sapp was highly, in my opinion. I don't say Sapp shouldn't have gone in, but definitely not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I wouldn't have put him in. There were so many guys that put him before him, and Lynch on that defense was so vital. I think even more so. He was the Tampa 2. He's Tampa 2. He and Derek Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
John Lynch was that guy who knew the coverages, was always in the right place at the right time, put other people in the right place at the right time. Watch him in the Super Bowl against Oakland. He's telling guys, cut across here, you'll pick it off.
Yeah, sluggo
He's telling guys.
Sluggo seam.
Yeah, he's faking, and he hit her on par with Ronnie Lott. I mean, they were probably the two hardest hitting safeties I can ever remember. But he was also like Charlie Waters smart. He always seemed to pick off that key pass to close out a game.
Yep.
John Lynch definitely go in.
Orlando Pace.
Yeah. I mean, when he comes around, sure.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner, yeah, he'll go in eventually. I don't think he needs to be rushed in. But he needs to go in because, I mean, what a story. It's cool enough that he did what he did with the Rams. He's working in a grocery store and playing every ragtag football league like you. He had his Wednesday night team. And then he gets his chance and rips it up like no one's ever seen before. Has his glory years and then just drops off the earth. Sucks. He's I think 8-20 something as far as his record for a while. It was only 8 wins and 20-something losses. And just goes to Giants and sucks and just whatever. That's enough of a story. Then he comes back in Arizona and does it again.
And almost fucking wins.
Arizona. I don't know if anybody heard me say that. He brought Arizona to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, the guy should go in, definitely. But I don't know, again, when you look at first, second ballot, is he Unitas? Is he Staubach? Is he those guys? No. But I'd put him in the first, 5 years or so he's eligible.
All right, so if you're...
5 years of waiting.
So out of this group, and the last one, Terrell Owens. Not a first ballot.
Yeah, he'll definitely go in because he was so much revenue for the NFL and so much soundbite and entertainment.
But he's the guy I feel like the league is going to push, and he's going to be the Warren Sapp of this year's thing. He's going to go in because he's a fucking name, and that's what pisses me off about the Hall of Fame. That's the route it's going now.
He was a horrible teammate. He was everything that is bad in the NFL. The selfishness, the look at me, the I don't give a shit about my team, how are my stats looking. But if it's not going to be him, dude, it's going to be Randy Moss when his turn comes up. You know, he is this breed, especially of wide receiver, that's pretty much ruined the game.
Yep.
You know, there is this player, the Warren Sapps, the Michael Irvings. They break the law. They break the rules of the game. They get arrested. They beat up their wives. They beat up their kids. They get busted for cocaine. And then we applaud them and just give them bigger contracts and reality shows and whatever else. And it'll be interesting to see. Here's two things. Number one, I hope it's a former teammate that inducts Terrell Owens.
It should be Mariucci. Should be the one who induct him.
Well, I mean, let's have it be John. Let's have it be. Wait. Let's have it be
Donovan McNabb.
Donovan McNabb. Or let's have it be Tony Romo or whoever. You know, all these guys that yelled and screamed at the coaches that had to cut him, get rid of his ass or whatever. Let's have it be an honest introduction. You know, this is why the NFL is putting him in. We watched him do sit-ups in a driveway and then cover NFL News for a fucking week. You know, this is what he was our reality TV show. He's our Kardashian.
Yeah.
He's our Duck Dynasty. You know, he is our Donald Trump. You know, that is who he is. So, you know, yay. Does he have the stats to back it up? Yeah, hoo-ha. You know, at that point, you know, I really couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. What did you do to change the game? What did you do to make the game better? What were you, you know, it's you know, he was a piece of shit guy.
Yeah.
He was a freak show that we wanted to see. Is he going to get in? Sure. Do I put him in for? I'll just make. Oh, the second thing I was going to say. I have a compromise. If the NFL is going to reward these guys for being complete fucking douchebag tool losers that ruin the game, but they love it because it makes media noise,
Right.
then I have a compromise with the NFL.
And that is?
They're the only one who goes in that year. If they had the spotlight when they were a player, and you loved them then, knock out all the other eligible people that year and just put in T.O.
You hear that, NFL? There you go.
You did it. You did it when he was a player. Don't stop now, NFL. So I say that's the criteria. So Favre, sit your ass down. Orlando Pace, Marvin Harrison, Tony Dungy, everybody sit your ass down. This is T.O.'s year. And just he goes in. He's the only one who goes in. I think that's fair. But in all honesty, here's something to think about. And you're a guy, right, with a trivia mind, you know all this shit?
Yeah.
You can look it up. I think in my trivia mind I already have this. I could be wrong. So, fact checker, hit me like a presidential debate afterwards and tell me how much I messed up. But I believe in the history of the NFL, there are only 5 guys at wide receiver who went in their first year. Only 5 guys ever. A lot of receivers in the Hall of Fame,
right,
but only 5 made it in their first year. So I think that's the criteria. And I'm going to name them. And for T.O. to go in his first year, you have to tell me if you would put him in this group. Is he the 6th one in this group? Ready?
Yeah.
Raymond Berry.
Okay.
Lance Allworth.
That's 2.
Paul Warfield.
3.
Steve Largent.
4.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah, no fucking way. Done.
Yeah. And I think that's what you have to ask. Is T.O. worthy of being with those 5 guys?
No.
When you think of those 5 guys, you go, and T.O. has to be there too.
No fucking way.
Yeah,
No
that's what
fucking
you
way.
have to answer.
So, all right, so there you have it. This is how it's going to shake down, folks. Make your decisions from here. So, as I was watching the AFC Championship game, I started thinking of all these statistics in my head because I knew the Broncos were going to win. Now, the AFC, when you all got started, the AFC is the designated home team. So, in the National Football League, the home team wears dark uniforms. That meant Denver, being the home team, was going to wear their orange jerseys. I don't know if you people have ever noticed, but every time Denver wears orange in a Super Bowl, they get stomped like a narc in a biker rally. They get fucking...
Is that true?
They get fucking killed. Super Bowl 12, they played the Cowboys, lost 27-10.
Yeah, they wore orange that day. Yep.
Super Bowl 22, they played the Redskins, lost 37-24, got smashed.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe 35. I don't know, it was a big score. I'm fuzzy on the day. Super Bowl 24, played the 49ers, lost 55-10. Super Bowl 48, played the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks just scored another touchdown. They got fucking killed in that
What were they wearing against the Giants?
White.
Okay.
Now, the two Super Bowls they won, 32, they beat the Packers, they were wearing navy blue. 33, they beat the Falcons, they really didn't have to do much, they were playing the fucking Falcons, but they were wearing white. Yeah. So, as soon as I saw that, I go, Denver's going to lose, they're wearing orange. The next day, or like 2 days later, Denver deems orange jerseys unlucky, will be wearing white this Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome!
So I was laughing, so that got me to think of so I started to think of all this.
Don't ever doubt, my friend, that the NFL is tuned into your show. Don't ever doubt that. You told them about St. Louis, and they went, that's not a bad idea. And they went and brought the Rams back to L.A. They went ahead and they said, Denver, did you hear what freaking Ron Mexico pointed out? The orange is why we're losing? Oh my God, white, we're going white.
Dude, the only thing they will not listen to me on is that fucking franchise in Northern Florida. That's the only thing they will not budge on yet.
I do not know of what you speak.
All right, so as I was going on, I was like, oh my God, Denver. I was like, okay. So then I started thinking about it. And I was like, well, who? So then I started thinking, all right. So let's start with this. Okay, I want to test your knowledge. What can you name the 4 franchises who have the most appearances in Super Bowl history? 4 franchises have played in 1, 2, 3. So those 4 franchises, they played in 32 out of the 50 Super Bowls. So over half. Over half.
Obviously, Denver is one of them.
They have 8 appearances. So all the 4 teams all have 8 appearances. So Denver's 1.
Would Dallas be one of them?
That's 2.
Probably fucking New England.
3. They have 8. One more. They played Dallas a few times in a Super Bowl.
Was it really? It's either Pittsburgh or Frisco. I would go with Pittsburgh.
Steelers. So Patriots, Cowboys, Steelers, Browns, Broncos. Whoa, 8 appearances. Frisco's next with 6. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 teams with 5. Dolphins, Raiders, Giants, Redskins, Packers. Then Bills, Colts, Vikings with 4. Rams and Seahawks with 3. Ravens with 2. Bengals 2. Chiefs 2. Eagles 2. Bears 2.
Wait a minute. Wait. Let me stop you here. Just to correct you, Baltimore has gone to 4. Now, I know you're going to credit those to Indianapolis, but that did not happen.
Right.
That did not happen. The Indianapolis Colts did not go to those Super Bowls.
Correct.
So Baltimore has been to 4, right?
The city of Baltimore has been represented at the Super Bowl 4 times. But out of those 4, 3 of them were Baltimore wins. Colts.
Yes, we're 3-1. Yep.
Colts and 2 for the Ravens. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, Carolina also now their second appearance. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 teams with 1 appearance. Jets, Titans, Chargers, Falcons, Saints, Bucks, Cardinals. Now, can you name the 4 franchises who have never been?
No, I can't because there's one team I won't mention.
So you can name 3 out of the 4?
I can name 3 out of the 4 because the other doesn't exist.
So what's 1?
Cleveland.
Yeah.
God bless them, my Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's 2. Bum Phillips.
I was going to say, would you include? I always get confused. That was the Tennessee Titans, right? They went, so Houston never went.
Right.
So it was the Houston Oilers never went, and now, of course, the Texans haven't been.
Right.
And then the Shoeshine Boys.
And then the JV squad from Northern Florida. So that's appearances, right? Okay. Who's got the most wins of all the Super Bowls? All the teams. And Al, skip controversy, because we know 2 of them were controversial.
Well, what is it? 6?
Yeah, 6 is the most. 1 with 6 and 2 with 5.
Well, I know the Steelers have 6.
They have the biggest. They have 6. Who's got 5? 2 of them have 5.
Dallas.
Yeah.
5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Frisco, I think, has 5.
They got 5. 3 have 4.
Well, I know that the Patriots have got 4. And
the other 2 in the NFC.
I was going to say my Baltimore team. No, they have 3. Who else would have 4?
Big media market.
Green Bay?
They got 4.
Yeah, Green Bay, because they got 2 with Lombardi, 1 with Favre, 1 with Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And 1 more.
1 more has 4 wins?
Yep. Biggest city in America.
Oh, yeah, what an eclectic group that is.
The Giants.
Yeah, when you look at that is such a, because usually you can name different eras or whatever, but that team, first they went with Sims and that defense.
Right.
Then they win the squeaker against the Bills
with Hosta,
with a backup quarterback and a 90-year-old running back.
Yep.
And Lawrence Taylor's pretty much like washed up by that point. So I mean the defense is kind of hanging on. And then they went 2 with Eli. 1 with Strahan, and then Lord knows who they had that next time. But yeah, I mean that's a weird Super Bowl. You know what I mean? That's an eclectic group of winners the Giants have had.
Then you got Oakland and Washington, both have 3. Dolphins, Ravens, Colts, Broncos. Well, if you want to get technical, Dolphins 2.
I don't remember 2 Colts wins.
Dolphins 2, Ravens 2, Broncos 2. And then the franchises with 1 Super Bowl: Jets, Colts, Chiefs, Saints, Bucks, Rams, Seahawks, Bears. Those are your one and dones. Who has the most losses?
Who owns the most losses?
Yeah.
Would it be like that whole? Probably Denver.
Yep, 5.
I was going to say, because you got your Minnesota Vikings in the 70s, you got your Bills in the 90s.
And then who else has got 4? They also have 4 wins. They have 4 losses.
New England?
Yes,
no,
sir.
that fix was already in. Was it?
New England lost Super Bowl 20, Super Bowl 31, and then 42 and 46.
That's right. They should have been 3 and 5.
Dolphins and Cowboys both have 3 losses. Bengals, Steelers, Colts, Raiders, Eagles, Redskins, Rams, Seahawks, all with 2. Nashville, KC, Chargers, Giants, Frisco, Packers, Bears, Falcons, Panthers, and Cardinals, all with 1 loss. And, of course, the fearsome foursome who have never been. Oh, can you name the 4 undefeated franchises who have never lost a Super Bowl? They've won a Super Bowl, never have lost. 4 of them.
Well, that's easy enough because they're the guys who only went once, probably.
So, can you name...
So, like the Jets are undefeated. Yeah. New Orleans is undefeated.
Yes, sir.
Tampa Bay?
Yeah. And 1 more. Near and dear to you, undefeated. Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Super Bowl's 35 and 47.
Dude, you might as well be giving me Marilyn Monroe's measurements. I don't know those.
The Ravens, for Christ's sake, they're undefeated. You're 2-0. Your fucking Ravens have never lost a Super Bowl.
See, again, if you want to draw that line, that's fine. I go by the city.
All right.
I go by the city.
All right.
We are 3-1. You can't erase the Baltimore Colts. You can't. Indianapolis could say, "Well, we own that." No, you didn't. You were still fucking squatting on pieces of corn, giggling.
You're giggling like Mike Bowen.
Exactly. So yeah, you can't.
All right. So now this Super Bowl, this is going to be the fourth time two animal teams have played for the championship. First time was in 33, Broncos and Falcons. Broncos won. Second time was Colts and Bears. Colts won. Third time, Seahawks and Broncos. Seahawks won. Now you got Panthers, Broncos. As it stands right now, horses are 2-1 in winning championships over other animals. So here we go again. So here's one of your other things y'all can factor into your fucking betting pool. All right, real quick. I also found there have been, quarterbacks that were single digits have won the Super Bowl 14 times. Quarterbacks that have won double digits have won 35. Theismann, first quarterback to win with a single digit to win a Super Bowl. What position would you say has won the MVP the most?
Probably quarterback.
27. What do you think second?
Running back.
Wide receiver with 6. Halfback with 4. Fullback has won it twice. Linebacker 3 times. Defensive back twice. Defensive tackle once. Defensive end twice. Special teams 1 time. Then I even broke it down by, Oh, okay. Teams that have been designated the home team. Out of 50 Super Bowls, how many do you think the home team designated the home? How many Super Bowls have they won?
You know what? I wouldn't even know who was the home team and who I actually didn't know there was. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know there was any kind of emphasis on who, quote unquote, the home team would be until you brought it up at the beginning of this program.
Well,
it just never occurred because it's always, except for like maybe 1 or 2 Super Bowls, it's always played at a neutral site.
Correct. And I'll get to that. Now, the home team has won 20 Super Bowls. Team designated home has won 20 times. The team that's designated road, 29.
Really?
Yep. Now, this will also be the 1, 2, 3. This will be the 5th Super Bowl that the home team has elected to wear road colors in the big game. First time was in 13, Cowboys-Steelers. Cowboys lost. Second time, Super Bowl 17. Redskins beat the Dolphins. Third time, Super Bowl 27. Cowboys beat the Bills. Fourth time, albeit shitload of controversy, Steelers beat the Seahawks in Super Bowl 40. Now, Super Bowl 50, this is the 5th time that the home team is wearing white at home. I also broke it down. Then I was trying to figure out, what division has won the most titles? What division do you think has won the most Super Bowl titles?
Current division, right? Because they switch those sons of bitches every 10 years.
Let's go current, what the current modification is now.
I would go East, North, the South. NFC East.
Correct. How many?
Because you got the Cowboys, you got the Redskins, you got... Actually, everybody but Philadelphia is pitched in there.
Correct. They have 12 titles, the NFC East. Tied for second place, the North. Pittsburgh with 6, Ravens with 2. Third place, tied for third, is the AFC East and NFC West, both with 7. Patriots got 4, Dolphins 2, Jets 1, Niners 5, Rams 1, Seahawks 1. Then you got the AFC West with 6, Raiders 3, Broncos 2, Chiefs 1. Then you got the NFC North with 5, Packers 4, Bears 1. And then the divisions with the worst record is the AFC and NFC South, 2 titles. Well, really 1 title in the AFC South. Colts with 1. NFC South, Saints with 1, Bucks with 1.
Yeah.
And CBS has shown the most Super Bowls with 19. NBC has shown 18. ABC and Fox both have shown the Super Bowl 7 times. Also, Super Bowl 1 was the only Super Bowl shown on 2 networks. Because, at the time, NBC had the AFL games, CBS had the NFL games. After that, it's only been on 1 network. Cities. What city you think has hosted the most Super Bowls? It's tied for 2. It's tied for first amongst 2 cities.
Des Moines.
Yes, that's 1.
And I would say Tallahassee.
Yeah, you got it. Fucking shit. For those of you that are just dumb fucks, it's Miami and New Orleans. Both have had 10.
I was close. So
Miami's the only city to host 2 consecutive Super Bowls. 2 and 3 were both played in Miami. Only because their options were limited back then of figuring where the fuck to put this thing. The Colts franchise, whether they were in Baltimore or Indianapolis, are the only team to have played all their Super Bowls in one city, which was Miami. Super Bowls 3, 5, 41, 44. All in Miami. Dallas played 3 there. Never won in Miami. Pittsburgh's undefeated. Niners are undefeated. Packers, Jets, Broncos, Saints all played 1 Super Bowl there. 1 Super Bowl there and won them all. Raiders, Chargers, and Falcons all 0-1. New Orleans has 10 Super Bowls. Patriots have won the most there with 3. Cowboys won 2. And then Vikings and Broncos both lost. Cowboys, Vikings, Broncos, Niners, Chiefs, Steelers, Raiders, Bears, Ravens, Packers, Dolphins, Eagles, Rams all have played in New Orleans. Los Angeles, 7 Super Bowls. Dolphins and Redskins have played there the most with 2 apiece. Going down the line, I got Tampa's had 4, San Diego with 3, Phoenix has had 3, Houston has had 2, Detroit 2, Atlanta 2, San Francisco. Now, interesting thing you said about teams who have... No team has ever played the Super Bowl in their home stadium, but 2 times in the history of the Super Bowl, the home team played in their city. 14 was the first time the Los Angeles Rams played the Steelers and lost. Second time was 19, when the 49ers absolutely carved up my fucking Dolphins, 38-16, in Super Bowl 19. That was played at Stanford Stadium in Palo Alto, California. So this is the second time that the Super Bowl has been in Northern California. The first time was in Palo Alto. I don't know how fucking far that is from Frisco, but it's close enough for that to be a home game for the Niners. Minneapolis, Jacksonville, Dallas, Indianapolis, and New York City all have had 1 Super Bowl each. Minneapolis is also the site of Super Bowl 52. Houston, the site of Super Bowl 51. And the last stat I'll throw at you, Mr. Hall, out of 50 Super Bowls, 30 of them have been played on grass, on the real deal. 20 have been played on artificial turf, which includes the old-style AstroTurf as opposed to this shit that they have now that I don't know what the fuck it is. It looks like grass, but it's not. So we've had 50. 30 have been on grass. Now, with that being said, who's winning this thing Sunday?
Well, that last statistic I want to point out might not be accurate, only because the drug testing is a lot different now. I think a lot of those early ones were played on grass, man. You know, you didn't have the sedatives you have now.
No.
You know, the happy cut. So, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I think that Carolina is probably the better team. Not that Denver doesn't have its stars, and that defense is amazing. But I mean, just by record, I mean, there was a point where people thought Kansas City was going to take that division because Denver had fallen so badly. Where 15-1 is 15-1, baby. I mean, they played an easy schedule this year. Two of the weakest divisions dominated their schedule, but Carolina still did it. They still did it. I mean, when people always say, well, they got a weak schedule and shit, and blah, 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 and then you point out other teams that have had weak schedules, and they're like, yeah, but no, see, it's different from New England because they actually had, no, so you still have to beat those teams.
Right.
I will tell you why I'm enjoying this Super Bowl very much. Because I can't lose in this Super Bowl. I have no emotional investment. The past few Super Bowls, my Baltimore Ravens are in it. I was a big Seahawks fan, so I had emotional investment there. I can't stand New England. So when they're in, I want them to lose.
Right.
Different teams when they make it, So in the past, probably close to a decade, I've had some emotional attachment to one of the teams, whether it be I hate their guts or I love them. This one, the Denver Broncos are cool, and I like Carolina. So either one that wins is great. Sentimental, who doesn't want to see Peyton walk out, end the career with a ring?
Correct.
He has one, obviously, so even if he doesn't, it doesn't destroy his legacy. But what a great way to go. And can I say this, once for the record,
yes.
The NFL, if you're listening, I know your douchebag announcers like to say, wouldn't it be great if Peyton could go out with a ring like big superstars got to do, because it doesn't happen often. They'll name different players that got to go out on top with a ring.
Elway.
Elway did it, whatever. They never mention Ray Lewis did it, but every one of those dumb sons of and Jerome Bettis did it. Jerome Bettis barely played that year. He almost cost them the chance to go to the Super Bowl with a fumble at the goal line against the Colts that was embarrassing. He didn't do a damn thing in that Super Bowl except for just waddle on the sidelines. I'm the bus. Stop putting him up there with Elway, who earned it, with Ray, who earned it, with Norm Van Brocklin, who earned it. Players who went out on top. He was a bench warmer. He was a glorified bench warmer with a catchy nickname. So please, stop putting Bettis up on that pedestal. So, but that being said, it'd be cool if Peyton goes out that way. But on the flip side, it's exciting for Carolina, man. They've never won before.
Right.
How exciting would it be for Carolina? Both North and the other one. Can't remember the other's name. North Carolina and the other to be able to celebrate, a first Super Bowl. Everybody loves that. I mean, it's an incredible thing. So, either way, I'm cool. My as a viewer, you want to see a competitive game or whatever, but the fact of the matter is, if Carolina balls out the way that they do and open with 31 points, the NFL is going to be very disappointed about their ratings in the second half, because Peyton and that offense are not built to do a shootout.
Yeah.
They got to grind it out. They got to control the game. He's got to dink and dunk and throw his passes wisely. Those little running backs Denver have, they got to keep grinding and getting 5 here and 4 here and another first down, and that Denver defense needs to be a big play defense. They got to get sacks, and they got to do a pick six. That's how they win. They got to do that. Otherwise, if Newton starts finding like Ted Ginn, the thing I love about Carolina is they got guys like Ted Ginn who only catch one of 7 passes you throw to him. But damn, it's exciting because you don't know which one he's going to catch. And Cam Newton keeps going back to him. Ted Ginn has the worst hands in the league, but the guy runs a 3.640, so he's going to always find a job.
This is why he was a first-round draft pick of the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, that was you and I talked about it when he was drafted. I said, do the Dolphins really have that much of a stockpile that they just drafted a kick returner number one? Because he's never been a receiver.
No,
you know.
fucking. I feel like. I mean, the safe bet. I mean, Carolina, I think, is favored by 5.5 or 6 points. I don't think they're going to win. I think Denver's going to pull this shit out. I mean, I didn't think Denver had a snowball's chance in hell against New England just because it's the great New England machine, and I thought New England would find a way of. I didn't think. I was like, you know what, they're going to find some way to expose Denver's defense. But after seeing what Denver did, they beat the fuck out of New England. I mean, they beat his ass.
I didn't have a doubt they would beat New England. New England had to travel. Wah, wah, wah. They don't like to travel. Denver's defense is built to beat the shit out of somebody like Brady. Wah, wah, wah. You don't like to get hit.
Right.
The formula for Brady has always been hit him in the mouth because he's a pussy and make him throw over 10 yards. Because that amazing accuracy of his wilts away when he can't throw a 2-yard quick hitch, or the little bubble screen.
Right.
When you make him throw a 15-yard pass, a 20-yard pass, he can't do it. He can't do it. Unless Gronk dives backwards between two safeties and plucks it out of the sky.
Right.
He just can't do it. So Denver's defense woke up, and finally played the way that they earned their number one ranking. They came in off the edge. They beat the piss out of the quarterback. They clog up the middle so you can't really scramble or have a running game. Their linebackers are pretty active. Those corners can latch onto you, and they got a safety who'll knock your balls out of your jockstrap. It's a good when they're on par. Not like when they fucked up against Pittsburgh and just quit playing in the second half. When they're on par, they're damn good. They are a damn good defense. And then it's kind of nice to see Peyton's transitions. From having a multiple a talented offense in his younger days, great running attack, great receivers, et cetera, and he was a very talented quarterback, to having almost no running game for a decade, it seems.
Right.
Where he was just not back throwing at everything and throwing 55 touchdowns a year, to him now really having to rely on the rest of the team and being that cerebral, more like a Bart Starr,
Game manager is not, but you know what? He is essentially, you know what Manning is? Manning is essentially the type of quarterback that we grew up watching, where he pretty much ran the show and called it on his own and knew how to, I mean, Staubach didn't have guys barking in his fucking helmet telling him what to do. That motherfucker just went out and won the game. But you know what? I like the fact that this is not going to come down to whether Peyton can beat the Panthers. I think this comes down to whether the Broncos defense shuts down Carolina's offense, and I think this is it. I think this is the immovable object that the juggernaut is going to run into. This is the Wolverine with the adamantium claws that's going to rip Marco Kane's helmet off and shut this down. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be very close scoring. I say Denver by 3.
If it's kept close, Peyton will figure out a way to he's, like I said, he's kind of like that 60s, 70s quarterback now, where you keep plugging the running game and then you pick your spots to throw those daggers, You don't light it up with 55 passes. The way they win now, well, even Aikman won that way with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Aikman was very, very smart with that shit. And when Aikman did throw, it was like, son of a bitch, he threw another touchdown. I mean, it was just Emmitt Smith, little pass over here to Alvin Harper. It's 3rd and 3, I'll hit Novacek.
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith. I mean, he just, he didn't really light it up, but he was so damn efficient. And when he did throw, son of a, damn it, and I think it's kind of cool to see Peyton transition into that guy. After at the end of his career. So if they can make it old school, they'll win with a great defense and a super intelligent quarterback who, when you look at what he did against San Diego when he came off the bench,
right,
which was like one of the worst predicted surprise endings. It was like, holy shit, Captain America didn't die in the explosion. It was like one of the worst. But when he comes out, what was so awesome about him with San Diego was because I don't think he probably threw more than 15 passes, and it really wasn't that he completed any giant bombs or anything. But it was like the way he just stood there and would audible out of a pass because he'd read their blitz and then send the running back the other way. And the running backs were getting 30 yards a chunk. He was just, if I run a trap play this way, my guard will seal off your blitzing linebacker, opens up a wide hole, and my 5'9" running back just tears ass through there.
It was very It was very Dolphin-like.
It was what?
It was very 70s Dolphin-like. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, they were all that way. So it's kind of a cool tribute thing to see. That'd be nice. On the flip side, you know what? Even Cam Newton in some ways. I know they run that quarterback. I don't know what the hell
run
it is.
Option.
And it aggravates me.
Yep.
Where he'll fake the handoff and then he stands there like 1,000, 2,000, and then he picks a hole and runs. I'm like, somebody just grab him. He's just standing there looking at you. It's like a bad game of Smear the Queer. Are you allowed to say that? Okay. Smear the
Smear the alternative lifestyle.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the. But the old game. The old.
Right.
So it's. But even they run the ball a whole hell of a lot. That's old school. And then, like I said, every once in a while he'll throw a bomb to Ted Ginn. I mean, everybody had that. Everyone had that Cliff Branch or Roger Carr, or the guy can't always catch, but at least he goes. When he does catch, it's a 70-yard touchdown.
So it'll
be an old school game. It'll be cool. The defenses are both great.
So who's going to win?
Who I love? Who I absolutely love, and is so retro.
Big Bush.
I mean, I love who?
Nothing.
Oh, did you say Kate Bush?
I said Big Bush. You said, what's retro? I said Big Bush.
Oh, Big Bush. Well, Kate Bush might have. I've never seen pictures. But at least you didn't say Barbara Bush.
She's got Big Bush. She is Big Bush.
Little trivia. That's who they named it after. She's yeah. I mean, it was like 1910. So, that Lou Kuechly kid.
Yep, the linebacker.
Oh, is he freaking beautiful NFL linebacker or what?
Yep.
That guy is so old school. I mean, he is. He is Lambert. He is.
Yep.
He is. Bill Berge. He's Hacksaw Reynolds. He's all those guys that we grew up with. You don't gain more than 2 yards a carry against that guy, and then he's back. He's Mike Curtis picking off the pass and running it back for a touchdown.
I was saying Jack Ham.
Yeah. Well, no, Jack Ham was a little different, and I only say that because I love Jack. Jack Ham is one of my favorite players of all time, and Jack Ham, I have to guess, Jack Ham cannot watch an NFL game now, and I'll tell you why. I don't know this for a fact, but I would guess he cannot watch an NFL game now because the key to Jack Ham's game was he was perfect, absolutely perfect. When you watch Jack Ham play, it was a clinic on what you're supposed to do, and that included tackling. He didn't knock your helmet off. He didn't have those, Ray Lewis, Dick Butkus kind of hits.
Right.
He strictly threw the shoulder into you, helmet to the side, arms wrapped around you, lift like a good bra, lift and separate, and then boom, dropped you on your ass. You didn't gain a yard. He was picture-perfect form tackling. And I don't know if there's been any player in the last 20 years who knows how to do that. Half these guys don't even put their arms out when they tackle now.
No. Now it's all now it's all just putting the fucking shoulder into someone and hoping you get someone with inertia, you put them on their ass, which it fucking doesn't
trying
work.
to make the highlight reel.
Exactly.
Or you get a guy like Dion that makes a business decision and tiptoes away from a running back. Like, I'm not doing that.
Like, So who wins? So who are you picking?
I would love to see Denver win, and there's a definite scenario where they can. But I'm going to flat out. I go with Denver for sentimental reasons.
Okay.
But as a football guy, I got to go Carolina, dude. I mean, I have never seen, and I will say this for Carolina fans, I have never seen a 15-1 team be so disrespected in my life.
Yeah, it's true, because the Bears didn't get that, and neither did the 49ers when they did it against the Dolphins.
When you hit 15-1, even 14-2, they don't talk about you being the best team that year. They're immediately putting you up with the best of all time. Oh, this team is better than the 70 Steelers, than the 60 Packers. These guys could rank with any team and hit. These are the 80s 49ers. These are the greatest ever. This might be the greatest team ever playing. Carolina couldn't even get that respect within the power rankings this year. You would see them finish behind, well, New England's number 1, obviously.
Right.
Carolina would come number 3. Arizona was above Carolina, I would say. Seattle, oh, Christ, when the playoffs hit, Seattle's going to take the whole thing. Carolina doesn't stand a chance. I have never seen a 15-1 team be so damn disrespected. And just on that principle, they're 15-1 for a reason. And we saw them win all kinds of different ways this year. They won at the last minute. They won in huge routes. They won where they built up a huge lead and then almost blew it in the second half. They won it, in comebacks. They won it, going toe-to-toe. They won it all kinds of different ways. So it's, I got to go with Carolina.
All right, I'm taking, like I said, I'm taking Denver, and I'm thinking Denver does it by 3 points. We shall see. All right, my man. Let me let you go, but we did a straight 1 hour and 40 minutes. We did a movie.
As well we should. There was a lot to talk about.
You were educated.
I knew we were in for this kind of conversation. It's big-time knowledge, big-time voices, talking big-time games. And when you told me, dude, do you have some time? Clear out some time. Let's do this. I loaded up, man. I've been well. I got a bucket here. I've been peeing in for the last hour.
Listen, I'm trying to cut you out early so you can make it a time for the all you can Zima.
Oh man, it's Friday night. I'm with my lovely lady tonight. We are going to chug some Zima. We are going to put some mustard on a Pop-Tart.
Awesome.
And
see if Dracula's Winky comes out.
You're damn right. So, in fact, that's probably her now. So I'm going to head out. It is her. I got to go. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hello?
Uh-oh.
Hey, baby. I'm on a radio show right now. Did you remember to pick up the Zima? Okay. All right. Just hold on for a second. I'm going to put the phone over here so I can say goodbye to the fans. Okay. All right, fans. You've been beautiful. I'll see you. Are you done after this? Like, as far as the stiff arm, do you go? Like, when do you stop?
I don't know if I'll go dark. I mean, what I've been doing now is I've just been kind of like sporadically putting episodes out like every 3 weeks or so. So,
okay.
I'm still thinking of some things of what to do to try to fill the void until, my intention is to try to run things until, summertime and then shut it down like TV shows usually do.
I agree. Your hiatus is pretty good. And hiatus, by the way, is Spanish for dupa. All right, let's get out of here.
All righty, man. Take it easy. This is all your stiff. This is all the Super Bowl pregame you need. And once again, this is Ron Mexico saying, "Talk is cheap, motherfucker."